I got this story from somebody that sent me it in an email. I was a little bit concerned about it because I knew what I wanted to say. So I asked the person, I'm like, here's what I feel about this story. Tell me what you think because you sent it to me. I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm real uncertain because I feel like I might offend some people with my opinions about this. Very, very specifically, and we're talking about the time frame. And so they said, you know what? I know how you usually speak your mind, and they're like, I trust you. Do what you do. I'm pretty sure it is going to make some people mad. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and speak about the story. I really, really want to talk about this. First of all, to get justice for the child that was done wrong, who we believe by this individual here, who represented a position of authority and took advantage of it. But then there's another side to this that I'm struggling with. I'm really struggling with this because of the time frame. Let me give a disclaimer before I piss y'all off. Hold up. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. So before we get into the story, that's what y'all need to know, as I'm going to say some things that are probably going to offend you. The individuals that you guys see on my screen, I'm getting this from foxnews.com, so thank you for the article. A former Massachusetts deputy police chief has been indicted Monday on child, I'm going to say sexual assault, because y'all know I can't say the RAPE word, right? On child sexual assault charges, not sexual assault, but they use the R word, stemming from repeated alleged assaults against a 15-year-old victim while he was assigned as a school resource officer. You guys have had resource officers at your school before. They're almost like mainstays there. You think that they're there for your safety, to protect the school. Then you got some people that just think that rules don't mean nothing and they gotta satisfy their boner, right? Some people just ain't right in the head. The individual that you guys see on my screen, John Porter, the 54-year-old former Hopkinton deputy chief of police, is now facing 3 counts of RAPE of a child after being indicted by a grand jury. So they believe they can get a conviction. So I think they must have enough evidence, or whatever the case is, to proceed with prosecuting him. The incidents allegedly occurred during 2004 and 2005 while the victim was a 15-year-old student, the DA's office said Monday, describing how Porter had worked in the town of Hopkinton school district or school system. During that time, the defendant allegedly assaulted the victim on multiple occasions off of school property. The Hopkinton Police Department is located between Worcester and Boston and declined comment to Fox News Digital when asked about the matter. Let's go back. So if he's currently 54 years old, and this occurred starting back in 2004, how old would that have made this man? Anybody want to take a wild guess? Just minus off 19 years off of 54. Might as well say 20 years. So you're talking about he was roughly around 34 years old. 34 to 35 years old at the time. So on the flip side, that would make the then 15-year-old in 2004, currently that would make them 34 years old. Does anybody know Where my concern is here. My concern is not the deed of right or wrong, because we all understand, and I want to make sure I put this perfectly clear across the screen in the closed captions. If this man did what they say he did, he needs to be in jail no matter how long ago it was. Am I clear about my point? Before everybody gets their panties in a bunch. If he is indeed guilty of what he is accused of doing almost 19 years ago, almost 20 years ago, he still needs to pay because he never was held accountable. See how that works? Guilty, needs to pay. Needs to pay. Especially when you got a freaking badge on. That comes with a much higher level of accountability, in my opinion. Okay? So I don't want to get that lost in translation. As of Friday, Porter was let go of his position in the department, the attorney's office said. So it sounds like they fired him. They didn't put him on leave. It sounds like they fired him. No arraignment date has been set yet. Porter previously was placed on administrative leave last August with no reason given at the time, according to the Metro West Daily News. As there is an active, ongoing investigation, no additional information can be released at the time. The newspaper had quoted in the police saying, the month before, the Hopkinton Police Department honored Porter for 30 years of service, adding his name to a plaque in recognition of the milestone, police said in a blog posting on the department's website. We were thrilled to recognize Deputy Chief Porter's years of service and all he has achieved in his 30 years with the department. He has shown a true commitment to bettering this department and serving the Hopkinton community, and we are fortunate to have him as a member of the Hopkinton Police Command Staff. The department said that Porter joined its ranks in 1992 as a patrol officer, a detective, a sergeant, and lieutenant before being appointed deputy chief in October 2021. He was also the department's first school resource officer and built the foundation for the program as it is today. He also is the only member of the department to receive the Medal of Valor, which has recognized his work for taking into custody an apparently suicidal person armed with a knife who had doused a home with gasoline and attempted to light it on fire, police said, adding that Porter has been selected as the Mothers Against Drunk Driving, or MAD, Officer of the Year 4 times. All of those are respectable deeds. It still does not take away from the impact of what he allegedly did to a 15-year-old child, underage child. Used his badge and what they say, taking a position of authority, as far as influencing, is wrong. And it needs to be punished, no matter how long ago it was. What do y'all think my problem with that is? If it matters that much, I know the law allows you to do it, but why wait 20 freaking years to say something? Let me tell you, shout out to the victim. I mean, no disrespect to the victim, and I'm not victim shaming. What I'm saying is when something happens, say something when it happens. Therefore, you didn't allow almost 20 years to go by and possibly another 20 years of more sexual abuse against children to take place because somebody didn't say nothing. That also does an injustice to other potential victims. Because now this person might feel emboldened. They think they can get away with it. It's been all these years later. And they probably have gotten better at trying to hide it, trying to disguise it, trying to maybe make more victims scared to speak out and say something. Indeed, if this person is a victim, and of course they're going to have to do an investigation, but damn, don't you think it makes it super, super hard? How do you get facts from 20 years ago? They barely had cameras in schools 20 years ago. Like, cameras in schools and metal detectors was really like a thing that started in like the 90s going into the 2000s, like Juvenile. Where are you going to get the evidence from? How do you remember the story so vividly? Could you potentially get some details wrong that could end this man's career either justly or unjustly? I just think when it comes to something like this, it needs to be taken serious, and people should step up and say something in more of an appropriate time. Like, I get it. Like, there are things that maybe I don't understand when it comes to that time frame, that you should allow victims to have more time. Maybe they were dealing with something deeply emotionally, physically, spiritually. We don't know. I get it. That's why I say, if he done it, charge him. End his career. Flat out. Throw away every good thing that he's done. I get it. But I am not sitting well with the time frame. That really bugs me. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. And look, man, that's probably going to make some people unsubscribe from the channel. I get it. But at the same time, you know, if we're going to end somebody's career based on what somebody is saying that they did to a person in 2004, 19 years ago, I believe that it's fair that we have accurate information, right? We want it to be fair. We want it to be right. We want him to be charged appropriately. So therefore, he don't get out on a technicality like they didn't have no evidence. They couldn't prosecute him, and they can't confirm that he did this because there's just so much gray area. See what I'm saying? So we don't want to let hebophiles, he be a hebophile in this case, not a pedophile. A hebophile is someone who is in their pubescent stage. Prepubescence is pedophile. I don't know if y'all knew that, but we want to make sure and get this right.
Story that WBZ broke. Tonight, the deputy police chief in Hopkinton is facing child rape charges. And we're told the accusations are connected to his old job as a school resource officer.
And this investigation started last year. WBZ's Louisa Moeller has the story you saw first on WBZ.
Former Hopkinton Deputy Police Chief John Porter, who also goes by Jay, posed proudly in a picture. Now he's indicted on 3 counts of child rape.
That indictment involves, as you know, allegations that while working as the school resource officer, that the deputy chief became acquainted with the victim in that case, who was then 15 years old, and on a number of occasions allegedly sexually assaulted her.
I'm shocked. I mean, apparently this happened many years ago.
According to the Middlesex District Attorney's Office, the veteran officer is accused of sexually assaulting a 15-year-old on multiple occasions in 2004 and 2005 while he was a school resource officer in Hopkinton. The incidents allegedly happened off school property. Porter was placed on administrative leave last August without explanation.
Nobody knew why, and then today we heard what had happened.
But he continued work in a different field as the coach of the varsity girls soccer team at Blackstone Valley Regional Vocational Technical School in Upton.
Now, do y'all see why that's a problem? Let me explain what just happened. So they let him go. They didn't explain why they let him go. So what was he able to do? He was able to go under the radar. He went and worked at another school, and he became a coach of a girls' team. Probably to continue his victimization of other children. You see how that works? Does everybody understand now why I say that if you are a victim, it can't wait? Like, that needs to be a new hashtag. It can't wait. Maybe we need to start that. AFC. Hashtag. Another hashtag. It can't wait. It cannot wait. Still working with girls. You see what I'm saying? So you just move the problem from one place to another. You just took the dirt from one rug and swept it under another. The dirt is still there. It has not been cleaned up. Now you'd have to think, what else has he done in the past 20 years, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15 years that he was allowed to fly under the radar because nobody said anything? They scared of the police officer. You tell a parent, you don't trust your parents, you don't trust the neighbor, you don't trust family, you don't trust friends. Somebody knew something and somebody could have said something. And that's why I hope that victims do have the courage. Hashtag it can't wait. Because it's bigger than just what happens to you, which is why all of us need to stop being selfish. Hello. I know this is hard because some of y'all have been through some things, right? That's why DJ's here to kind of put this into perspective. The world is bigger than us. Our purpose in life is to find out what our gift is and to share it with the world. Another responsibility we have in life is to be giving, is to be protecting, is to be providing. And I think one of those responsibilities is that it's bigger than me. I can't be selfish and I got to speak up because it's bigger than me. What if it happens to another 15-year-old? What if it happens to the younger kids coming up? What if it happens to the younger kids coming up behind them? Every 4 years, you're going to have more seniors, more sophomores, more freshmen, more juniors. Hashtag it can't wait. And everybody needs to speak up when it happens.
That's while state police detectives looked into his case. His name listed as the head coach for the 2022 season, according to their website. On Monday, the superintendent released a statement saying, quote, Mr. Porter, who served as the head coach of the girls' soccer team, has resigned, facing allegations in his personal life, and is no longer an employee of the district.
So he just got to just walk away. Y'all don't think that was odd how he went to go and be a girls' coach? Man, when you're messed up like that, when you think sexual assault of children is okay and you continue to be around kids, what you think they're going to keep doing?
We went to the Hopkinton Police Department. Can I leave a couple questions for the chief by chance? But we're told no comment.
Hopkinton's town manager and police chief released a statement saying they are troubled and disturbed by these accusations.
Erica, the victim in this case would now be in her 30s. It's unclear tonight why it took nearly 2 decades for these charges to come to life.
More technically, they'd be 34. Let me tell you more of the ironic part about that. And I'm glad he said that. So if this were 19 years ago, and that victim had children, is it possible that they could have also have put their children in danger and could have went through the same school system that this alleged resource officer was at also? 20 years is old enough to have had kids. Let's just say if this 15-year-old had kids at 18, 20, or 21. That means their kid would be coming through the same school system if they lived in the same area. Now, because you didn't say anything, that this person has gone out and could potentially be around your kid too. Isn't that crazy? How many of y'all thought about it like that? Not only would they have victimized you, but they could have victimized your kid because you've allowed 20 years to pass. Now you're old enough to have kids.
Erica, the victim in this case would now be in her 30s. It's unclear tonight why it took nearly 2 decades for these charges to come to life, but prosecutors obviously had enough evidence to convince a grand jury.
To get hired at a very young age.
John Porter came before the Hopkinton Select Board in 2021 and said his years as a school resource officer had been the most enlightening and rewarding part of his career.
The kids didn't trust the police, the teachers didn't trust the police, the administration had no idea what to do with us, and we were able to forge ahead and develop a great bond.
Now, a grand jury has indicted Porter on charges he repeatedly raped a 15-year-old female student in 2004 and 2005, during the time he was working in the schools, but off school grounds.
These are allegations at that point, but obviously he was in a powerful position relative to a high school student.
Porter has been on leave since last August when the department announced he was under investigation, but without saying why. Less than a year earlier, Porter had beat out 3 co-workers to become deputy chief. At that time, he revealed he'd had a difficult childhood.
We grew up in an abusive father that was abusive to my mother and myself and my sister.
In 2006, Porter was one of the lead investigators on the high-profile murder case against Neil Entwistle. He's been on the force for more than 30 years. In a joint statement, Hopkinton's town manager and police chief said, quote, "We are deeply disturbed and troubled by these accusations. These alleged crimes have no place in our community or anywhere else, and we extend our sympathies to the victim."
Last Friday, the same day that the indictment from the grand jury was handed up, Porter announced that he was going to be resigning from the Hopkinton Police Department. He remains free while waiting arraignment.
And he's out and about right now. Man, that is just so dangerous. Like, how serious are they taking this? If they're taking this serious, if this person was scared enough that they waited 19 years to say something, don't you think that'd be even more dangerous now that they could end this man's life and career and he's out free right now and could potentially do anything? He's got a lot of knowledge about being a police officer and being an investigator and how that type of thing works and potentially how to maybe even get away with crimes. Right? That's pretty serious.
The Middlesex DA says these crimes happened in 2004 and 2005, but John Porter continued to work with children as recently as last year.
This is very serious.
A grand jury indicting former Hopkinton Deputy Police Chief John Porter on 3 counts of child rape.
The victim in that case, who was then 15 years old, and on a number of occasions allegedly sexually assaulted her off of school property.
The Middlesex County DA says the charges stem from 2004 and 2005 when Porter was a school resource officer in Hopkinton. In a statement, Hopkinton's town manager and police chief say, "We are deeply disturbed and troubled by these accusations. These alleged crimes have no place in our community or anywhere else, and we extend our sympathies to the victim."
I don't know what this guy was thinking.
Porter was also recently the head coach of girls soccer at Blackstone Valley Tech. The school superintendent saying in a statement they were recently made aware via the media of allegations directed at our former soccer coach. He went on to say that Porter has resigned, facing allegations in his personal life, and is no longer an employee of the district. Porter had been on leave with the Hopkinton Police Department since last August, when the department announced he was under investigation, but wouldn't say why until now. He has since been let go, but parents are concerned that someone with this type of allegation was allowed to be around children for so long.
It was pretty horrifying. I mean, just to know that they were around someone who has had, an issue, apparently.
Porter remains free this evening and will be arraigned in Woburn Superior Court next Tuesday. We're live tonight in Hopkins.
So that man is out and about right now. Hide your kids, hide your wife. I'm just saying, man, like that to me is a potentially very dangerous person. A person like they're not even calling him a flight risk. Really? Like I don't really understand. I don't know. But let me know what you guys think about this story. Hashtag it can't wait this long, because that creates more opportunities for these victimizers to create more victims. So just think about that. Let me know what you guys think. Like I said, I know I've had some opinions, but I want to hear what you guys think about that, okay? Thank you.